Hi, this is my first Teaching Around the World tag. I found the tag via Kafoople Land, which was a new channel I found at the end of last year, which I found when I went down a big education in Australia YouTube rabbit hole, and this is what I found. So thank you, and here is my first tag response for January. So there are 6 questions in January, and the first one is, what are your teaching goals for 2018? For me, a big teaching goal is to try and create more reusable material, and anyone who's been teaching for more than a few years will know this predicament, that feeling that you know you made something just like you want right now before, but you can't find it, or when you do find it, it's kind of got stuff from that old class littered throughout the resource that means you've got to virtually remake the whole resource. So this year when I'm making things for my classes, I'm really trying to do it with a mind that I'm making something that doesn't have the baggage of that particular cohort or that particular grade or even that particular subject that could be reused over and over again in future years. I need to start saving myself that time. Question 2, as a lifelong learner, what am I actually going to learn about this year? And I mean, hey, we are learning all the time. We are learning about how to YouTube, we're learning about how to do our subject, we're learning about how to parent. If you're me, I have a toddler. But the big thing that I'm learning about, it's all about the new text list for me. So in Queensland, Year 12 now have a set text list that they're supposed to work from in Senior English, and it's about working my way through the list and making sure that I'm maybe not across every single one of those texts, but the ones that I've always been meaning to read or that came out of left field or that I want to know more about. My lifelong learning is reading those texts. Lessons that I typically teach first week back at school. This is question 3. It's a bit different for me because I'm a university lecturer, not a school teacher anymore. I used to be a school teacher, but by the time university teaching actually starts again, it's like February. And so that whole New Year vibe is out the window. You know, it's a month old, it's a month and a half old in some semesters. So what do I do in terms of getting people ready for the new year? I guess my big focus is on getting them introduced to the culture of my classrooms, and for me it's English curriculum studies. So we do a lot of talking to build that culture, talking about what books people read, what films they watch, if they're into poetry or not, do they do any writing themselves. So before we launch into like the hardcore reading of scholarship and getting ready for assessment tasks, those early weeks are really about getting to know ourselves as readers and writers and speakers and listeners, and figuring out what it is that we like and what we do and what we have in common. Question 4, what is a big challenge for me teaching in January? Well, the biggest challenge for me teaching in January is that I'm not teaching in January. As a university teacher, I wind up my semester 2 teaching around October or the start of November, and then I don't teach again until February. So for me that's, 3 or 4 months off over that summer break, which in some ways sounds divine. But if you're someone who lives and breathes teaching, it's actually a really long time to be off class. So January I spend coming to terms with how lonely I am and getting really excited about classes starting soon. How do teachers celebrate the new year in my area? Australia. Okay, so this is the Teaching Around the World tag. I'm from Australia, and for us it's summer at New Year's time, so fireworks are a really big deal. I mean, they're a big deal everywhere, but fireworks are something that we are out in the streets, warm summer nights, enjoying at New Year's Eve time. It's a lot of barbecues, outdoor parties, backyard parties. That kind of thing is what we do around New Year's time, along with a healthy dose of buying back to school stationery. Isn't that right? Because those sales start like January 1 and we are in there, aren't we? If you could give a New Year's blessing to teachers around the world, what would it be? This was actually the first question that I had an answer for because it came to me straight away. My message for teachers around the world would be, may you resist the insanity. Resist. I am someone who likes to resist things that are being suggested to me in my practice that are a little bit mad. I'm not one to just comply with everything that's handed down to me that I'm told to do as a teacher, and you know, probably that's some of you out there as well. But of course we can't just resist everything all the time, so I'm all about resisting just the really insane stuff, because if I spent all my time resisting things that kind of annoyed me or that I would do a little bit better, then that's all I would do all day. So it's not about resisting everything, but resist that insanity. One of the other teacher tubers was talking about taking on a literacy role. Hi. And so here it kind of gave me this example, and as an English teacher myself, one of the big parts of insanity that I see happening in school systems is drilling students to perform well on exams. So for us here in Australia, the big one that we all do across the states is NAPLAN, the literacy and numeracy test. So that's an example, that's the kind of thing I'm talking about. If you're in a school that, for example, demands that you make your students practice their NAPLAN every week so that they can be really good at sitting that test, that's the kind of insanity I'm talking about. So there you have it. It's just a quick vlog from me today because I really want to keep the vlogging up this year, and this Teaching Around the World tag I'm hoping is a great way to prompt me to do at least one of these every month in response to the tag. Thanks to the Teaching Around the World tag people, and a big hello to our growing community. Bye.